There are men who conquer kingdoms, and there are men who conquer themselves. King David was both, warrior, poet, chosen by God, undefeated in battle. His enemies feared his name. His people sang his victories. But what no one knew was that the greatest war he would ever fight wasn't on a battlefield. It was inside his heart. It happened in the spring, at the time when kings led their armies to war, but David did not go. He stayed behind in Jerusalem. It seemed like a small decision, harmless even, but one wrong step can lead a man down a path of no return. One night, David walked alone on the rooftop of his palace. The moon was bright and the city silent, and then he saw her, a woman bathing by lamplight. Her beauty was like fire, dangerous to look at but impossible to ignore. David should have turned away. Instead he watched. Desire took root. "Who is she?" David asked the servant. "That is Bathsheba," the servant replied, "wife of Uriah, one of your mighty warriors." Uriah, a man who had fought, bled, and nearly died for David. But desire does not care about loyalty. It does not honor. It consumes. David sent for her. Bathsheba came to the palace, confused, hesitant. She did not understand why the king had summoned her. David spoke gently, comfortingly. His words were soft, but his intentions were not. One night of passion, one moment of weakness, one sin that would awaken a storm of consequences. Days passed. Then a message came from Bathsheba, 5 words that froze David where he stood. "I am with child, my lord." Fear, cold and sharp, struck the heart of Israel's greatest warrior. So David did what many men do when sin finds them out. He tried to cover it up. He summoned Uriah from the battlefield, pretending to seek a war report. But his true plan was to send Uriah home to his wife, to make the child appear legitimate. But Uriah was a man of honor, a soldier true to his brothers in battle. "How can I go to my house," he said, "to eat and drink and lie with my wife while my companions sleep on the battlefield? I will not do such a thing." David was trapped. His cover failed, and desire, once harmless, now demanded blood. He wrote a letter to Joab, his army commander, sealed it with the royal seal, and placed it in Uriah's own hand. Inside was a death sentence. "Put Uriah in the front line, where the fighting is fiercest, then withdraw from him." Uriah never read the letter. He never suspected betrayal. He marched into battle with courage, and he fell with honor. Killed, not by the enemy, but by the command of his own king. When Bathsheba heard her husband was dead, she wept in grief. David then took her as his wife. The kingdom believed the king had acted kindly, marrying a grieving widow. But God knew the truth. One day the prophet Nathan entered the palace. Fearless, direct, he told David a story. "There were 2 men in a city," he began, "one rich, one poor. The rich man had many sheep and cattle. The poor man had nothing but one little lamb he loved like a child. One day a traveler came to the rich man, but instead of taking a sheep from his own flock, he took the poor man's lamb and killed it." David was furious. "Whoever did this deserves to die," he shouted. "He must repay 4 times over." Nathan looked the king in the eyes and spoke words that shattered the silence. "You are that man." David was struck. He had slain giants, but could not escape his guilt. He had faced lions, but could not outrun his sin. Judgment came swiftly. The child born to Bathsheba became ill. For 7 days David wept and fasted, but the child died. It was a pain he would carry forever. And though God forgave David, the consequences of his actions cut deep into his house. Violence, betrayal, and tragedy would rise from within his own family. The sword would never leave his home. His son Amnon would commit a terrible crime.